Well, it is 4 p.m., so we are going to go ahead and dive right in. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have a jam-packed, tight schedule for our pitch day today, which is super excited to have you all here with us. But I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. My name is Claire Holzowski, and I am SAi's Chief Operating Officer. And in case you're less familiar with SAi, we are an incubator that provides access to research, infrastructure, community, mentorship, training, and funding to enable scholars and social entrepreneurs to study, experiment, explore, and ultimately build the next generation of programs and tools in science and public engagement, science communication, and informal science learning. So we ultimately, we enable new pathways and accelerate the building of new tools and programs that expand pathways of access between science and society. Before we get started, I'd like us to take a moment and acknowledge that we live, work, and learn on the traditional lands of many tribes of indigenous peoples across North America. And as we continue to gather virtually from around the country, we definitely encourage everybody to learn more about the indigenous peoples who continue to steward the land that you inhabit and seek ways to honor and cultivate meaning relationships. We'll throw a couple links in the chat if you are interested in diving into your studies there. But with that, I'm actually going to turn things over to SAi's Program Officer, Corey Warshaw.
So I'm actually going to jump in there a little bit there. Claire, thank you so much for that kind introduction. Welcome, everybody. My name is Fanuel, Chief Resident here at SAi. I want to just say a few words of welcome to you all and thank you to everybody involved in this program. I can't believe it is Cohort 8. And we just keep chugging away, and so it's exciting to see it grow to new heights. And our funder this cycle for Cohort 8 was Loonsbury Foundation. I'm so thankful for them for trusting us to continue the work and supporting what we're doing here. As I mentioned earlier, it really takes a whole village to do this, and there's so many people along the way that have helped us. So I want to say thank you to you. To the supporters who have given us their time and also helped the fellows who will be pitching today. It takes a village to do this. The mentors, past and present, thank you. Funders, past and present. I know some of you are here, STEM peers, Simmons Foundation, all of you, just thank you so much for the support. And so with that, I'm gonna keep it brief here. With my time, I always never forget the staff members, almost forgot. You guys have made it such a joy to do this work at SAi, and so thank you so much. And with that, one of the members that joined the Fellows Program this cycle was Corey Warshaw, and he's been the programs officer here, and it's been done a fantastic job just bringing this program together and taking it to new heights. And I'm gonna pass it on to him, and he's gonna run the show for us today. Corey.
Thanks, Manuel. So I'm going to go ahead and get things kicked off here. This is Cohort 8 Fellows Pitch Day, and what a day it is. This has been a long road for all of our fellows, and we're so excited to have all of you here to really see the fruits of all their labor. So you may ask yourself, what is the Fellows Program? Well, the Fellows Program is a space for a group of entrepreneurial-minded science people to work to create something, a product that can exist in the real world. That is a 10-week program that provides one-on-one mentorship and provides opportunities to find seed funding as well as networking in our broader SAi community. And so this is really just a space where there are so many kind of entrepreneurship programs out there, but this one is really tailored towards people who are in that kind of science communication and science education space. So we feel that we're really doing something unique to further these kinds of activities in the real world, and just getting started here is just the beginning. All of these people are going to go on to do amazing things, and we can't wait to see what comes next. You can see some of our past SAi Fellow programs here. They're all over. They've been spreading their wings, and we're just really excited for all of them. And this is the end of the Fellows Program, but it's the start of the journey. So we're really excited to hear from all of them. And today is going to be really pretty simple. There's going to be 5 to 8 minute pitches followed by 2 minutes of Q&A for all of those on the Zoom audience. You can also always drop a question in the chat in Zoom or on YouTube. And if you're on Zoom, you can go ahead and raise your hand. We are going to keep a close eye on the clock, so we all stay on time. So we will have to try to flex those Q&A sessions a little bit in terms of time. Lastly, there is a QR code over here, and it will also be sent out in the chat. There is a feedback survey for everyone to participate. We really, really value your feedback. That's how we make these programs better and better. So if you can provide us with feedback for this event broadly and also for our fellows, that'll be really helpful for everyone involved. So at this point, that takes care of the housekeeping, and we're just gonna go ahead and jump in. We have 5 amazing fellows for you today, and they're gonna be talking about their program that they're breathing into life. And so first, we're gonna kick this off with Alexa Perez-Torres. Alexa, take it away.
Once you unshare your screen, I can share mine. There we go. Let's see. Share. And let me see where I can move all of you where it's convenient. Okay, can everyone see my screen? I'll take that as a yes. All right, so hello everyone, my name is Alexa, and I am really excited today to tell you all about Presearch, a program geared towards teaching undergraduates from Puerto Rico how to read scientific papers. And before I get too excited and give you all the details, I first need to tell you about the inspiration behind Presearch. And to do that, I first need to tell you about myself. So my name is Alexa, as I already said, and I am a PhD candidate at Harvard University, where I study molecular evolution. Even though I'm currently at Harvard, this isn't where everything started out for me in terms of my academic career. And also, I wasn't even born in the continental US. I'm actually from Puerto Rico, where I completed my bachelor's degree at the University of Puerto Rico, or the UPR, as we like to call it. So coming into graduate school from Puerto Rico for me was incredibly challenging, not only because I just generally look different and I have different customs, but also because the academic opportunities at the UPR didn't quite compare to the ones at Harvard. And to be honest, there's a multitude of reasons behind this, but all of these factors kind of made me really aware of the challenges that I faced personally when entering grad school, and also how other Puerto Ricans entering grad school kind of were challenged as well. But one of the challenges that particularly stood out to me was that reading papers is really, really hard. During my first year alone, I was required to read a lot of papers, and I actually counted them. It was over 80 papers. And you can imagine how difficult this can be for a person that was never really taught how to do this task. And kind of to give you a picture of what my first year looked like, the pile of papers just kept growing and growing, and my progress was painfully slow. So I decided to do what any other person in their right mind would do, which is complain to your friends about it. And in these conversations with my friends who were also from Puerto Rico and are currently graduate students, a lot of common themes kind of stood out to me. Some of the themes that stood out to me were lack of general confidence in reading the papers themselves, but also kind of challenging the knowledge in the papers, which is actually really important as a scientist. Additionally, something that also stood out was that, you know, we sort of had this common feeling of just having to work harder than everybody else to keep up with the rest of the group. And we felt that students that studied in the US didn't kind of have these same struggles. So I hope that you can appreciate this is a huge and pervasive issue, and therefore it deserves a huge solution, which is where Presearch comes in. So as I said, Presearch is a program aimed to teach undergraduates from Puerto Rico how to read scientific articles and communicate them to non-expert audiences. Because essentially, if you can explain it to somebody else, is because you understand the material, right? All right, so how do we plan on precisely doing this? So we will pair students from Puerto Rico, precisely undergrads, with postdocs, graduate students, and faculty members from the US and NPR. So essentially, they'll get one-on-one mentorship to develop this skill. Okay, so here's the program at a glance, and I'm just going to take you through kind of 3 little things, but keep in mind that students that are in Puerto Rico and study in Puerto Rico probably have never seen what a paper discussion looks like, which is in science world, I suppose we call a journal club. So first, we will teach them by kind of seeing others do it, and that will happen through involving them in these group discussions about one paper. And then students will also learn by doing the work themselves. So essentially, they will pair up with their mentor to break down one research article, and then they will come up with creative and simple ways on how to present the data and the concepts in these papers to non-expert audiences. And in doing so, we also hope to help them develop their communication skills and public speaking skills, which it's not only important in a career in science, but also just broadly important in any career. So overall, we do have a structure and a workflow in our program, and I'm not going to go through everything that is on the slide, but just know that this is a formula that we intend to perfect over time. And I just want to highlight one key piece about the formula, which is mentor training. So pre-search is not just an opportunity for training the mentees, but also training the mentors, because we also want to train our mentors to have more culturally aware and effective mentorship for underrepresented minorities in science, which has also become really important in academia recently. All right, so I've told you broadly a lot about pre-search, but who else is operating with us in the same space? So in Puerto Rico, there are a variety of programs that focus on the practical applications of research, meaning the things that happen at the bench. How do I pipette? How do I do an experiment? And so on and so forth. And while this is really important, they often neglect something that is also really important, which is the soft skills. And this is where we intend for pre-search to come in. So we want to essentially help the students develop the communication, critical, and creative thinking skills that they'll need. And essentially, this is, as I mentioned before, important for a career in science, but also beyond. And this is kind of what sets us aside. So I hope that you find the value in that, which is really important. And I certainly do too. So I've already told you what we want to do and how we plan to do it, but how do we know that we're doing our jobs effectively? So this is where the evaluations come in. And we will essentially be looking at two general things, which is how effective we're being at our jobs, but also are we generating the buzz that we need? So how do we measure that the program is being effective for the students? Well, we essentially want to see how we're increasing the confidence and proficiency of the students when it comes to reading papers, and this will be assessed by pre and post surveys. And also, we care a lot about the people listening to these presentations that the students will give at the end of the semester. So we want to understand, essentially, are people in the audience understanding the papers like we are or not? And moreover, we will measure essentially, as I said, the buzz that we're generating in the community. And this will be measured in two broad ways. So how many applications we're receiving for people that want to be mentees and mentors. But also we want to see essentially the community and the public of our listeners build up over time, meaning how many attendees we have in our journal clubs. And I want to highlight this last point very importantly, which is that I want to make it clear that pre-search will not just help students, but also the public in general, because yes, students will be gaining a critical skill for the future, but also we want to bring in the public with us into the science and immerse them in the science, because science is for everybody, not just for scientists. It's supposed to benefit society. All right, so this project is pretty ambitious and it requires some amount of financing. And for this, we will be applying to grants through foundations, as well as accepting donations. And additionally, another key thing is creating relationships with sponsors and partners. And this could be, for example, if we're reading particular papers from a particular journal, then we can partner with them and essentially develop that relationships and perhaps gain some memberships to access those materials more easily. If you're interested in knowing where this funding will go, well, it's mostly going to go to one place, which is it's going to be allocated to compensating the mentors and the mentees for the time that they spend with us. So time is money, and we want to make sure that we're taking care of the people that work with us. And mostly that's where it's going to go. But most importantly, these funds will also be used to grow our team, which is super important. And today, my call of action to you all is that if I left you here feeling, inspired and feeling good about what pre-search is going to look like, I do encourage you to get involved either by donating on the QR code on the right or contacting me directly on the code on the left for opportunities and positions at pre-search. And I want to thank Faniel for being my mentor during the Cohort 8, and also the rest of the cohort members for their support, as well as Corey. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Alexa. So this is the fun part of the pitch day. We have all of you here to ask questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and you can turn your camera on, come off mute, and ask a question.
Hi, Alexa. Great presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So again, great presentation. Not saying that because I'm Puerto Rican and also come from the UPR system. That's just coincidental. I do want to ask if you have any mentors yet recruited.
Yes, so actually, through my family members, I've been able to contact the Department of Chemistry at the UPR where I went to, and we're getting into contact with people that are interested in serving as mentors. So I'm really excited about that possibility. We still need to solidify the final pieces of the puzzle, but yeah, we're generating quite a bit of buzz. Thank you for your question.
All right, we got time for one more question.
Hi, Alexa, can you hear me?
I can.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I really appreciated it. I could have used something like this when I was in graduate school, so maybe we could rewind the clock. Curious, once the students have gained these critical skills that you mentioned, useful in all different types of, walks of life, what are your expectations for what happens to them? Are
Yes.
there plans for what they plan to do with that? Are they funneled towards graduate school? Are they funneled towards the humanities and the arts? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, mostly we're interested in training our students in life sciences, but I do want to keep, or overall research does intend to keep constant engagement with these students. So hopefully our students will come back as peer mentors for the current cohorts and kind of help them in their own experiences and see if they need additional help from somebody that they can actually relate to, which is somebody at their level. But yeah, essentially, we are targeting our target audience are people that do want to pursue graduate school or a career in science. But yeah, broadly in life sciences.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question.
All right, great. Well, you can continue to ask questions in the chat, and Alexa will be around to answer those. Same with all of our fellows. And what I really like about what Alexa's doing is that she's taking the knowledge that she's gained from her studies and she's bringing it back to her community. And I think our next speaker is doing a lot of the same in what she has in her Girls in Science Day program. And so our next speaker is Carmen Dixon.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Can you hear me? I'm really grateful that you could take time out of your schedules to be here and that we could talk more about my project, which I'm really passionate about, and I love seeing everybody passionate about their work. What I created is called Girls in Science Day. And this is making hands-on experiences in STEM more accessible to girls across the nation. And so how I intend to do that, I want to tell you about myself first and how I became interested in this. And I was a science teacher. I spent 15 years in the science classroom. And what I noticed was, as I was teaching chemistry and physics, the upper level classes, less and less girls signed up for those. Less and less chose to take them. And so I really saw the roles of my class changing because less women were signing up, young ladies. And so I was also in a very rural area. I am from Ohio, and I am from a rural part of Ohio that is kind of in the middle and not close to Columbus, but still in the middle of the state. My girls didn't have a lot of opportunity to explore STEM projects. There weren't a lot of things for them to go to. There weren't clubs. We weren't near a big city. And so what I found was that I was becoming an advocate for them to give all underserved populations like the rural areas STEM opportunities for girls. And so what Girls in Science Day is it is a full day of girls 6th through 8th grade as our target population. And they come together and they meet each other and they do hands-on workshops. And they do them in different areas: chemistry, biology, physics. There are theme days. And so these hands-on experiences, they connect to others like themselves, and they're also exposed to women role models in STEM. The workshop facilitators are all women. It has been running, the first one occurred in 2008. It was very successful, and it has been running now at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, in both rural and urban areas. And some really exciting things have popped up as this has happened. It's been a successful program. I've done research on it. We have had up to 100 girls at an event. To get the kind of interaction I want, I can't have more than that. It's become so popular, I've actually had to turn people away. And the schools that I invite have had to create a lottery-based system to which of their students got to go or not, which it's a great problem to have, but it touched my heart because I want everybody that wants to go to be able to go. So that was happening. And I was presenting about this in conferences, and what I found was people in other states across the nation are saying, hey, they were coming up and talking to me after, I'd like to do this. How can I do this? We need this in our area too. And so we did all this at no cost to the girls. There was no cost. They got lunch, they got a t-shirt, they got their science supplies. There are no barriers there with cost. So I'm really proud of that. So we can really offer that to underserved populations. You might notice that there are several events around like this now, different events for girls and different clubs and things. But my event is different. And that is, my event will come to the girls. Many of the girls, if you don't live near a large city or a university that can host these events, they can't afford to travel. A lot of these events charge an admission, or they charge, if it's stay overnight, there's a charge for that. And that immediately blocks a lot of the population that deserves to be there. There's no cost, and there's no cost to travel. We can bring the event all over the country to the girls at their homes where they live. And so that seems like the next logical step. I'm having these days, I've been having them since 2008. They're successful. I can't possibly have enough myself to fill the need. And so what I would like to do then is launch this nationally. I've learned a lot about running these events and creating and managing it, and it's not easy. I know how it works. I have more interest in it than I can fulfill. So I'm putting together a platform and a network that will launch this from Ohio, which is where I'm at, across the country. And so the network and platform is going to enable people from all areas, large or small, to host their own Girls in Science Day events, and it's flexible enough to work for them. The solution I provide, the platform begins on the website. I have the site, and the website will train, it will build the opportunity to train different areas for how to build their own events, how to build collaborations with community partners, how to access and use local and situational training materials, and how to fund these events. I want to enable other areas and around the country to be able to host their own events to get the girls who can't necessarily come to the ones that are being hosted right now. And that's very important to me that they all get equal opportunity to do that. So far, I have done some updates. I've got a number of people expressing an interest to host a Girls in Science Day. I have the university that I work for does student teaching on a Native American reservation in Arizona, and so they are interested in hosting one. There is a deaf population in Minneapolis that is interested in hosting one for their girls who don't get to go to these events. And so right now, I've written grants, and one of the ones I'm writing is so that I could do 2 events outside of Ohio, very important to me, in these areas for underserved population. In addition, I am applying to make Girls in Science a nonprofit entity to be able to secure funding and help make these connections for people that want to host them to get together, for girls to connect with mentors, and so on. What I'm looking to do is measure my results. I have some data already from my dissertation, but I want to keep track of the number of Girls in Science Days launched per year, the number of girls engaged across the nation per year. And I plan to do that on my website by having some pre-developed questionnaires that are already in templates. So everybody that has their own day can access these forms on the website and put their data on them. And then we'll have reports generated by analytic tools. And so then we can use all of the data for all of these events around the country to use them for grant funding or outcome reports. And so I'm really trying to cover my bases, that we have the events and we do the research to get the information. I was a rural girl, and there are a lot of girls out there that aren't close to anything, that have never seen more than a 2-story building. And they deserve these opportunities too. They deserve the chance. And so if their lives are changed, isn't it worth it? What I'm asking for, I would love to talk with you if you're interested. If you're interested, it's not binding. If you have any questions, I would love to talk to you about this. I love it. So I'm looking for people that would like to host their own events. I'm looking for volunteers in these areas that would like to work at their own events. Of course, I'm searching for funding so that I can help develop my platform and my network, and also help these areas that are hosting their days. I'm looking for some ways. I want to be able to share my expertise, hold workshops, go to the days, some of the days that are hosted around the country, and be able to enable people to have their own events. And hopefully they won't have to go through the barriers and some of the headaches that I did as I was learning. So I would like to partner up. And so I want to talk to you if you're interested in donating, if you're interested, if you have an idea, if you have any ideas about this. I'm certainly willing to talk to you. I'd love to know what you think, what your ideas are. I just like the chance to make it better. So here is my email, and here is the website, which is not quite up yet, but I have the domain, and I'm working on my modules and things now. Thank you so much. Thank you, Faniel. Thank you, Corey. My mentor, Adriana, was awesome. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my presentation.
Awesome job, Carmen. Thank you so much. So I think it's really awesome program, and it's so great to see that it's been such a long and successful program as well. Carmen mentioned it briefly, but all the fellows work through this program and actually put in the effort to put forward a grant for all their programs. So that was a part of what we did here at SAi, is we worked with everyone to get an actual grant submission. Now, who knows if the grant gods will smile upon us and actually approve it, but we're taking that first step in that process to get everyone the funding that is so desperately needed in these times. So thank you, Carmen, and thank you to everyone who has been here so far. Does anyone have any questions for Carmen? A very succinct communicator, apparently.
Wow.
Okay.
If you have
well,
questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. I would love to talk with you.
Carmen, I guess my question is just a simple one: is what excites you most about Girls in Science Day?
When you go into these schools and see girls who don't think they can do anything, who don't think they have a future, who don't have confidence, who don't believe in themselves, have never been told by their home lives and the people in their lives that they're confident, they're wonderful, they can do things, and they matter, and they have self-worth. When I see those girls come in and practice science skills and to see how they're good at these things and that they could do it and they have a future, that is why I get up in the morning.
Awesome. That's truly awesome. Well, thank Thank you so much, Carmen. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and transition to our next speaker, Isabel.
Awesome, Possum. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Then we're good. Okay, my name is Isabel Rojas-Ferrer, and today I want to talk to you about animals are dope. We are living in the age of misinformation. And every day, more and more people are looking towards social media for accurate information. When it comes to animals, we've seen a rise in misinformation to the point that National Geographic, the New York Times, and the Washington Post have all written about it in the last few years. The problem with animal misinformation is that it can lead to unintentional cruelty content. And this can include selfies with wild animals, which can cause them stress, smiling at macaques, which is a known aggression cue in monkeys, and tickling a slow loris. And if you don't know what a slow loris is, it's this cutie patootie right here, which is going to be the protagonist of this presentation. In a recent study, Bergman et al. 2022 suggested 3 possible solutions: policing misconduct online, guidance for action, and improving the message, which is exactly what my initiative is all about. If you look at social media, specifically at Instagram that provides engaging visual content and warning messages for potential harmful behavior towards animals, you will find amazing organizations such as Nat Geo Wild, Animal Planet, and the Dodo. Sadly, these organizations don't provide scientific facts, fun and engaging content, and they're predominantly in English. What are we missing? What do we need? And why am I the person to provide it? As a reminder, my name is Isabel, and this is my best friend and COO, Vito. I am an animal behaviorist, a storyteller, an educator, and a native Spanish speaker. More importantly, I am an animal lover. And my initiative is called Animals Are Dope, which is an Instagram page that provides scientifically backed facts about animals in order to combat this animal misinformation problem. Let's take a look at this page real quick. What you'll find first is our handle, Animals Are Dope. Then you'll find our motto, Fun Animal Facts, Datos Divertidos de Animales. And if you click real quick on one of our posts, what you will find is that it reads, never, ever, ever tickle a slow loris. But why? Why can't I tickle it? I really want to. Well, the thing is, in order to find out more about this, let's swipe. And in our next post, you're going to see that when a slow loris raises its arms, it actually is activating a mechanism for its venom system, where it combines saliva and armpit fluid in order to release this venom. So essentially, when a slow loris raises its arms, it's in defense position. It is not an invitation to get tickled. So now, if you're really curious about this little critter, let's go to the next page. And what you will see is that now you get more information about the species, including the scientific name, the taxonomic order, the location, and the conservation status. More so, you will find a brief description of this behavior with its with its corresponding citations. And if we go back to the main page, you will actually find a link where if you click on that link, it will redirect you to an Excel sheet that provides citations for each of the animals featured in our page. It also provides definitions and a cheat sheet where you can find even more fun facts about animals. As promised, if you go to our page, you can also find the same exact post, but this time in Spanish. So no one's missing out. Well, I guess the French. Anyways, this is the start, my ultimate goal is to increase animal literacy by providing our audience the knowledge base and the toolkit to identify and counteract animal cruelty content. And this is just, and in order to evaluate the impact of this page, we're going to be looking at interest in animal science by using likes and shares as a metric. And we're also going to be looking at knowledge about animal behavior by including fun activities in our Instagram stories, such as multiple choice, true or false, and polls. This is just the start of our animal literacy empire, where I'm currently at the content creation phase and am hoping to launch this by next year and expand into other possible social media platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube once we've reached sufficient followers. In terms of funding, I will be relying on collaborations, fundraising, and sponsorships. Currently, we need people. We need passionate individuals that want to join our team in order to better expand our mission about increasing animal literacy and destroying animal cruelty content. With that, our page is not yet launched, but don't worry, because you can, if you're really interested in this, you can email me and I will definitely send you updates about this page. So with that, I thank you. I thank SAi and I thank my mentor, Kylene, and I look forward to launching this soon. Gracias. I will be addressing any question that you may have now.
Awesome. Yeah, Isabel is clearly the one among us with the best design sense here. And I think that it will really show and translate in all of her content. So does anyone have any questions for Isabel? For Tanya?
Hello, great presentation. I really enjoyed the storytelling aspect of it. I do have a few questions. So one of them is I clicked on a link and I think the Instagram page is private. Perhaps it's because you're not ready to launch it, but I would suggest just opening that as soon as possible, because it really does help to, build that following that you're looking for. My main question is, have you considered hosting any of this on a web platform as opposed to keeping that solely on social media, so you have a bit more control over the data and what you see?
For sure, this is definitely something that's been on my mind, and more so I am hoping to take this further. So something that I've recently done is actually give a K-5 presentation where I do talk about animal behavior and essentially all these fun facts. So I do, again, I want to create an animal literacy empire, and everything that I can do to go towards that, I will do. So that's not the problem here. I do want to make, one of my biggest things is I want to do a good job at this, which is why it's still private, the page, because I want to be able to carefully curate the content. because my mission is to educate. And in order to do that, I have to be very, very accurate in terms of my literacy, my primary literacy. Literary, I can't say stuff today. I am
That's
so
okay.
sorry. This is why
No
I need
worries.
time. This is the reasons. So
Thankfully.
yeah, so just because of that, I'm going slower than I wish that I would, but I promise you that once it's launched, it's gonna get going.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for your questions. We're running a little behind schedule, so we're just going to move right on to the next one. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I think it's really ambitious for Isabel to be taking on an animal empire by herself, but we got in a different domain, we got a mushroom empire coming about. So our next speaker is going to be talking to you all about mushrooms. The next speaker is Jackson Anderson.
Hello. Okay. I see your animal empire, Isabel, and I challenge you. So hi, I'm going to present you all my company, Nexus Alternatives. So my name is Jackson Anderson. I'm a biologist with a background in environmental consulting, and I've been growing gourmet mushrooms on and off since the 5th grade. It's been a lifelong passion of mine, and it gets me very excited. So let's start with what we are as a company. Nexus Alternatives is a gourmet mushroom cultivation company, and we serve the at-home gardener that's looking to enrich their food growing experience in new ways. And we do this by making mushroom grow kits that utilize the grow process to engage with concepts in fungal science in creative and interactive ways. So why do we make grow kits? Well, first, it's because we love growing food this way at Nexus. It's a really awesome way to grow mushrooms, and it's incredibly simple to do. And that ties into the fact that the growing experience that most users in this market engage with is through the grow kit. Leaders in this industry have seen tremendous market success through these simpler cultivation methods, and interest is still growing. But right now, there's only one type of grow kit on this market, and it comes in a cardboard box, and they all pretty much look and function identically across all the companies that produce them. They allow you to grow mushrooms at home, which is cool, but we wanted more. And anything beyond growing mushrooms from one of these simple cultivation kits can get very costly, and they tend to require a lot of knowledge that people don't possess, or resources that most people don't have access to, or even care to acquire. And what's more, casual growers don't really want this, but they are currently being pushed in this direction by the companies in this market. So what do we do about this? We give people more of what they want. A variety of grow kits to choose from, and they're all unique in their own way. We make sure that they are simple to use. They're very easy, which allows the user to explore new ways to engage with the growing experience. Using our kits is as simple as misting it with water twice a day. And we frame it through this belief that growing food is about more than sustaining nourishment. It's about the experience that we have when we do it, and about integrating with a larger narrative of food production as we grow alongside our food. So how do we do this? Well, we provide alternate frames of reference to view the mushrooms that people are growing, which is to say that we give them a new context to understand what's going on biologically. And we do this by integrating the grow process with arts and fungal science and business practices. And just as fungi are great connectors in nature, we chose to mirror that by working with artists, scientists, and businesses to create a truly unique experience with each of our kits. So let's start with some of our kits. This one is a paint can kit, and it's a collaboration with some of our favorite artists as we explore how the grow experience can integrate with stories and concepts in active research and fungal science. And we bring these concepts to life in bite-sized booklets and through the label of the can, which contains QR codes that allow the user to learn more about the concept that we're covering in the booklet or the intention behind this kit. We encourage the users to read a page from this booklet each day they care for their mushrooms, thus building a daily routine. And we use the booklet to relate the concept that we're exploring to each stage of the mushroom's growth throughout the user experience. And so by associating care of the mushroom with daily bite-sized doses of creatively interpreted scientific concepts, we aim to casually integrate the growth process with the learning process. This is another one of our kits. It is the beer can kit, and it explores how mushrooms and beer are intimately connected through our work with breweries as we upcycle their grain into mushroom grow material. And while users can visit our website through an interactive label on these kits to learn more about the backstory of the kit or the experience, or this experience is actually more or less, it's less told and more action-oriented. And by action-oriented, I mean that this kit allows the user to help us and thereby them turn waste into a product of value that produces no waste of its own. The cans are recyclable, and the contents within the can that allow you to grow mushrooms from it are easily compostable in the home. And in so doing, we hope to shift the intention behind the use of this kit from food production into something beyond, namely meaningful sustainability practices. So these are just the ones that are in scope for now. We have lots of ideas on what we want to do more, but they just require more development. So how we're planning on evaluating this, we're still kind of figuring that out, as we are not by design an impact driven company. But in theory, the sales of our kits indicate change in awareness and knowledge due to the nature of how we structure engagement with our products. And under the assumption that our users engage with all of the core information that they get with the kit, like the booklet in the case of the paint can kit, then any additional material access, like through the QR code on the can's label, would suggest a desire to learn more. And granted, these are assumptions and proxies are being used here, and I understand that, hence why this is still a work in progress. And on top of that, users that interface with us and each other through in-person and virtual events that we want to hold, we offer them opportunities to gauge sentiment on their experience with the kit. So virtually, we will hold that in social media, and in person, we plan on doing it at the breweries that we're working with right now. So thus far, how are we doing? Well, we're still developing our products, but the people we've spoken to or worked with in the brewing industry where we're based have been very enthusiastic to help us as we grow, and they're showing keen interest on having our beer can kits on their retail shelves in their tap rooms. Some of the artists directly and indirectly involved with us have shown an interest in collaborating with us on our paint can kits. And as we're working through the details of that right now, kind of figuring out how compensation is going to work, logistically how it's going to work, all the details still being figured out. As well, several grad students active in mycological research at CU Boulder have expressed interest in having their work explored with one of our paint can kits. And we're ironing out the details there because compensation for them can be tricky given the nature of their position within the university. And finally, test kits are being prepared. So we're sending out our first batch of testing products for to get feedback on. So we're really excited to see how people feel about them. Right now, the team is just made up of me, my good friend Nick, who is kind of handling a lot of the business and marketing stuff. His role is a little bit up in the air right now. And Michaela is a PhD candidate at CU Boulder. And she works in STEM engagement in the classroom. So she's helping us with a lot of the STEM engagement stuff that we might do alongside our paint can kit. So what's next? Pretty much we just need people to test our product and provide feedback on, their experience with it. In the coming months, we're looking to expand the team, hopefully. We're interested in working with people that know a bit more about science communication and marketing on social media in particular, since I don't really enjoy the prospect of having to do that myself, as well as just business management stuff. Yeah, so without further ado, I'll open it up to questions should anyone have any. And this is my email address and our website.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackson.
Yeah.
Right. Does anyone have any questions?
I actually have a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, for it.
Great presentation. I do not think we are competing. I think we can join forces and just do a biology empire. And yeah, that's fine.
I agree. That's a collaboration I haven't thought about, but
we need a plant person now. So anyways, I think my biggest question is in terms of distribution, right? Like in terms being from Puerto Rico, I would love to randomly grow mushrooms. But I don't even know if you distribute that or if these mushrooms are actually built for that weather. So I don't know if this is something that you different kinds of like what would you have to say about that, I guess?
Well, let's just say that mushrooms typically grow in the damp forest floor, but our kits I've been able to use during 115-degree weather in Los Angeles. So there's a wide variety. And with regards to distribution, it's just right now we're planning on launching in the beginning of the new year and selling at farm markets, but with the intention of very quickly transitioning to online sales through our website. But there's still a little bit of logistical and sales permits and inspections that we need to go through in order to legally do that. Yeah, but they'll grow anywhere indoors. That's pretty much all I got to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackson. All right, so we got one more speaker. And before we get started with that, I'll just say if you do have time to stick around to the end, we'll have a special announcement from Fanuel. Ooh, might see his background. A little bit of a teaser there. Okay, so we're going to move right along. Last but not least, we got Gina with SciXplorers.
Okay. Okay, we good? Cool. Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Gina, and today I'm here to talk to you about SciXplorers, which is a STEM project-based app that gives kids the agency to explore science in an informal way. And so before we jump in, I just want to talk a little bit about myself. And so I am currently a master's student at Oklahoma State University, but most importantly, I'm a first-generation woman in STEM. And this is important because, like many other first-generation students, I found that formal science in the form of a standardized classroom structure was inaccessible for myself, and particularly students who learn differently or may have educational disadvantages. It's also been found that 90% of learning is actually gained from experience rather than sitting in a classroom. And so by allowing students to process their emotions and their actions, they're actually more likely to retain information and be better prepared for the future. To fill in this gap, after-school science programs have expanded. And although these projects are on the rise, since 2014, there's been a 79% decrease of low-income student participation in these programs, which is mainly due to cost and transportation. So while STEM activities outside of school are on the rise, historically marginalized groups are being left behind. And that's where SciXplorers comes in. Our mission is to be an app that's aimed to give kids the tools to learn the scientific method in an informal way at their own pace by putting them in the driver's seat of their own creativity. And so you may be wondering, well, there's tons of STEM apps out there. How is SciXplorers different? Well, I'm here to tell you. So there are plenty of STEM-related apps out there, but a lot of them come with a purchasing cost and/or subscription fee, or they're subject-based, so they focus only on one STEM subfield or assume you have prior knowledge of all the STEM subfields. A lot of them are also targeted towards elementary school students or younger, And all of them lack the agency to give kids the creativity to explore on their own. And so at SciXplorers, our target is middle school kids around ages 9 to 14, because they still maintain their childhood creativity. They still maintain their childhood creativity, but they're developing critical thinking and reasoning skills, as well as gaining independence and preparing for the future. This app will also be free to use with no subscription required. It'll also be accessible to all kids, written in an easy to understand language, and the projects will use little to no supplies so that they can be done independently and without parental supervision. App users will have the chance to access STEM projects based on STEM disciplines across the fields, which means that it would be project-based and not subject-based. It'll also be made by real people. So volunteer scientists will create the projects that the kids can read about when they choose their projects. And most importantly, it puts kids in the driver's seat. It gives them the agency to decide what activities they want to complete based on time commitments and their moods, and allows them to develop their own questions and execute projects at their own pace. So how does it work? So volunteer scientists will pitch ideas. We will review them and make them user-friendly on the app, and it will then be matched into an algorithm that helps kids choose a project when they open the app. It will then be made available, and there will be a project board that users can upload their completed projects to. So let's dive in. Upon opening the app, they're invited to start an adventure, and they're welcomed by Cacti, the SciXplorer mascot, who will guide them through their projects and throughout the app. Once they begin, they're prompted with a series of time and mood-based questions, which are used to generate a list of potential activities based on an algorithm. It gives them the choice and the ability to explore projects based on their own decisions. It also gives them flexibility if they're feeling indecisive to allow the app to choose for them. Each project is titled with a catchy descriptor to engage the kids and excite them about this adventure. Once they choose an activity, they're given some background on the project, and they can decide if that project is of interest to them or if they want another option. Once they choose their app, Cacti will guide them into their new adventure. And so this is what project boards will look like. The homepage will have the updates where it will track their progress throughout the adventure. The background will provide information needed to complete the project, as well as a profile of the scientist who created the project. The plan is where they will be guided out to write their methods and choose treatments. The mystery is where they will make predictions and ask questions. The plan is where they will write out their methods and choose a treatment. And then the mystery is where they will be guided to make predictions and ask questions. What's going on is where they will evaluate their results, synthesize their findings. And it's also how we will evaluate the user comprehension of each project. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's going back like this. They will also have an opportunity to post their finished projects to a board where they can view other completed projects in the adventure and respond to each other using a set of predetermined positive reactions to keep the environment inclusive. They will be asked to complete a brief survey about the project to gauge their interest in completing similar projects in the future. And as they work through their projects, they'll be able to earn badges along the way to reward them for their achievements. And so the big goals of this app is three things. One is to give students the independence to explore their creativity and the world of science. The second is to increase STEM knowledge and enhance problem solving, planning, and critical thinking skills. And lastly, it's to inspire lifelong learning, make scientists more accessible so that kids can see them as real life role models. And so apps cost a lot of money. So here's how we're going to plan to work on it. We're going to be applying for many grants, as well as seeking partnerships with foundations like SAi, as well as accepting donations. And so far, I have created a website and an Instagram page, as well as created an app demonstration, which you all saw a little bit about just a few moments ago. We also have around 10 projects that are ready to go to be uploaded on the app, and I've already submitted one grant with another one on the way. In the future, I am looking for a development partner to help make this app a reality, as well as funding and funding partners to help with the developing apps and housing costs. Eventually, we hope to create a beta app that can be tested by our target group, and then launch this app in both Google Play and Apple App Stores. And so I need help. Right now, the team is just myself and a few volunteer scientists. And so I'm looking to grow. In order to make this app a reality, I need partners who share my passion, especially those with coding and app development backgrounds. We're also actively looking for more scientist volunteers to pitch their ideas and be a part of the app, as well as monetary support, which is much needed to help with the app development and costs. And so lastly, I just want to say thank you to the entire SAi community, especially my mentor, Rose, Manuel and Corey, and the entire Cohort 8 of fellows. And if you have any questions, and this is all the contact information for the project.
Thank you, Gina. Unfortunately, it looks like we will not have time for questions. So Fanuel, I'll just hand it right over to you, and then we can wrap things up.
Well, I'll say if there's room for a question or two, please go ahead. I can hold for a second. Is there a question? Okay, well, make sure you ping Gina directly and any of our fellows as well later. I do want to say thank you all for sticking around and watching these pitches today. Today it marks the launch, if you will, of these initiatives into the world. And so it's always exciting to see them at this stage. We've gone through 8 cohorts now, and it's always exciting to see what they do next. And so I'm super excited with that. With this, I want to now just make a special announcement. If you see my background here, so tonight, later on, about 9 p.m. this evening, we are going to be releasing a special premiere expedition video, Expedition 13, which had us going to Bogota, Colombia. So if you're still hungry for new information on initiatives, science engagement initiatives, you saw a brief subset today, brand new ones that are getting out there in the world. There's a whole slew of other ones that are on the ground in Bogota, for example, that are doing some amazing work. And I believe one of them is here today with us as well, Dr. Vicky Fleisches. So if you want to learn about her work as well, do tune in for that premiere tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, that is. And if you're wondering where will this be, here is the link in the chat. So you can take a look yourself. So just save a little link and RSVP on YouTube for that. At this time as well, I would like to say just make sure you enter your survey, complete the survey. We would love to get your feedback. The link is also in the chat as well. So I really we will appreciate your feedback with that. So with that, Corey, it's back to you.
Great. Yeah. And with that wraps up Cohort 8 of the SAi Fellows Program. So a huge round of applause to all of our fellows, to all of our mentors too. We couldn't have done it without you. To Fanuel, to all of our SAi team. It's been an amazing program, and we're so happy to have all of you here to participate and celebrate with all of us. And with that, I will bid you all adieu.
Thanks, everybody.